You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not.
The only one?
Is that how it ends?
Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
Impulse, when we have a guest on our show, it's always a lot of fun to learn about them and do this thing, but I always end up asking them a question that maybe is not super welcome, and it turns out I'm fine with that. And it's towards the end, I ask them, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And when I first started doing this, you would always do what you're doing now.
Yeah, because I know it's like, well, they did that when we worked at like corporate jobs. You know?
Yeah, but
they wanted our 5-year plan and stuff. And I never, ever could figure out what I thought I would do in 5 years. I'm always in the moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you would ask our guests that, I'm like, oh, here they go. They're gonna struggle answering this.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be upset, not upset,
Not
but they're
upset.
gonna be like, come on, man. Like, if you're gonna ask me such a hard question, at least warn me so I have time to think about it. Don't put me on the spot.
But I don't think that is, I think that they're not feeling the pressure of needing to answer correctly or whatever. I think it's like you said, they've not really had to think about it. Now, what makes it different from an interview question is that typically, maybe I've been doing this wrong my whole life when I'm in those interviews and they do this, but I always assume they're saying, in this company, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Yeah.
In this company. And that's why it's a dumb question, because it's like, well, I've been here 30 seconds. I don't know what the inner workings of your company is. I don't know. So you have to kind of do it. But however,
should have just said, I'm going to be the CEO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to be your boss. You know what? You're fired.
Straight
You're
up.
fired for asking such a dumb question. No, but it made us think, and actually this was your idea, is maybe we flip the script and we ask ourselves that very question. Where do we see ourselves in 10 years?
I think it's, it's like, I've been thinking about it. It's good to dream. You had the joke in the beginning about being a dreamer, but like, I think it is good to allow your mind to wander and we've had like a what if type of podcast before where we've allowed ourselves to kind of like, go on these tangents and just envision what could be in our wildest dreams, but like be more realistic about it. Like what are some things that could actually happen or that we want to happen? I think it's good to think about what you want.
I agree.
Because you can kind of manifest it sometimes. You know what I mean? We don't have full control over everything. I can't just be like, I want to be the biggest YouTuber on the platform and have it happen. You know what I mean? There's a lot that has to go into that. That's not just going to happen because I said I want it. You know? But I think it's good to know what you want. So then you know what you're hoping for and potentially working for. And aside from that, I just want to get a little silly with it too, and allow ourselves to just go down that. In our wildest dreams, where could we be in 5 years, 10 years?
See, I dig that. Now you said we've done the what if, but the what if was about the past.
Right.
What if this happened? Where would we be now? I want us to dive into where, like you just said, what's our wildest dreams of 10 years from now. And I'm not opposed to talking about some of my own fears in regards to what happens in 10 years, right?
Yeah. We could go down if everything didn't go the way we want it, what could happen?
Yeah.
Where could we be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can go down that path too.
It's
not necessarily a negative thing. I sometimes I do this like in my daily life, and it's probably not a good thing always, but like I prepare for the worst, and I imagine situations that like go south so that I'm like, okay, if this goes south, what is my reaction? So that I'm not put on the spot and make a bad choice. And because I do that and I'm preparing for the worst case scenario, it puts me in like a negative space. But at least then I kind of feel prepared. And most of the time it was for nothing. So I kind of like stress myself out over something that didn't happen, which, is kind of a waste of my thinking, of my
You're
being.
doing what we call borrowing trouble.
Right.
Is what you're doing. Yeah.
So it's not always a good thing. But in this case, I think it could be good to talk a little bit about it.
Well, yeah, because this is where it makes sense, right? When my wife and I, years ago, when we talked about like where she was at in her career and everything, and we were talking about, am I in a space to where even before, YouTube and everything, I was in a space that if we got very deliberately smart with our money and pinched, we didn't really need her to work, right? But it is great that she works because we can provide even more and have a little bit more freedom and stuff like that. However, my thing with her was I wanted her to stay current because I never know what's going to happen between her and I want it to go the distance. I don't know if, I could go, and I want to know that she's going to be okay. These are the types of things where it's like, it's okay to think about what could go wrong so that you are a bit prepared for it and stuff like that. But when you're just preparing for the worst so that the blow is a little bit softened once the bad stuff comes, I don't know. I don't know if that's inherently bad. I don't know. Maybe I should try it. Like you and I, this is where we're very different. And there's a fun little example, but like in fantasy football, for example, right? Your opponent will have a wide receiver who catches one ball and you're like, that's it, I'm out. I just lost the week. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? We're 1% into the week. Whereas me, I'm actively behind this week and projected to lose, and I'm like, I still got this. You know what I mean? I can still. To me, that's more fun. And that's just me. But
yeah, you're manifesting the win. It's more positive. It's definitely a more positive outlook.
Maybe, but I mean, I can't. I don't know. I mean, I like it. It also means that when it does go south, now maybe it hurts a little bit more than it would have had I just given in.
That's what it is. It's a shield. It's a shield. That's the only word for it. Really, is shielding myself from the disappointment by just being disappointed up front. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it was.
Well, you and I, we used to co-manage a team together, and you would do that. I'm like, would you stop it? And you would actually say to me, let me just do my process.
Yeah.
This is how I work.
Because if I've already told myself I'm going to lose and I win, it's awesome. But if I already told myself I'm going to lose and I lose, well, then I already knew that, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, you were right. See, I told you I was right. I knew it. Yeah. All right, let's talk about it. Where is Impulse in 10 years in the world of what we do now as content creators?
There's lots of different avenues I think this could go. One thing that we talked about, and since we're here right now doing the podcast, I'm going to start there.
Yeah.
One thing that we talked about was like, what if this podcast actually like blew up? You know what I mean? And suddenly, we're up there with the big dogs, Joe Rogan and Call Me Daddy and all those other big podcasts that are out there. What if somehow that happened for us? I like going down that because you and I share the same dream of this podcast, how we would record it, where we would record it.
Yeah.
Because we were hanging out. Were we hanging out like on the beach in San Diego
when we had this thought?
When we had this thought,
I don't know if we were there. Probably.
It's just a memory that we have because we spent time in a beach house on the beach, like literally on, like you could walk out the back door, take like 5 steps, and you're on the beach, and the ocean's right there.
It's the greatest thing ever.
And it was the best. We would just go out and sit on the patio and just watch the waves.
It's like 4 families.
Yeah, it was. Geez, this was like at least 10 years ago too.
A while ago, yeah.
Crazy, but I really like the idea of like being in a like beach house that's like got a boardwalk in front of it. So like out your back, like huge window, like the whole wall's a window.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And outside that window is a boardwalk with people walking by. And on the other side of that is the beach. And on the other side of that is the ocean waves hitting the beach. And people just coming by, rollerblading or skating and biking and walking their dogs and all that stuff, just traveling along. And they look over and this amazing mansion beach house with this huge window, a helicopter on top.
God.
And there you and I sit, much like this.
Yeah.
And they can just see us having this conversation with the lights and the cameras.
Like, it's cool. Yeah. The show is doing so well that when they walk by, we're not even there, they can see the set. They're like, dude, that's the set of the Imp and Skizz podcast. Yeah. And then every once in a while, they're like, they're filming right now.
Like literally, there's some sort of like on-air indication for them to see. Like, that
would be cool.
That would be sick. Yeah. You know what I mean? And to have the majority of those people walking by know what that meant. Yeah. You know what I mean? That means that we're pretty big time. Like that's a dream.
That's a dream.
That's huge,
all the way up there.
Huge dream. And that means most likely that's all we would be doing, right? Like I can't imagine Joe Rogan is making Minecraft videos on the side. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure he just focuses on the podcast. Yeah. But so that would be, that's the tough part of having these conversations is like, okay, if that happened somehow, miracle happened and that happened, that means that we do have to give up some other things,
Probably, yeah.
And like, do we really want to move to San Diego and a beach house?
I mean, wherever we got to go. I mean, I have no idea, right? But
we'll just take our helicopter every time.
Oh my goodness!
Right, land on the roof and we're good.
That'd be too slow. We need the
I want
underground thing.
I want an underground luge.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Like,
Well, yeah.
I want to get into like a capsule. So I want a tunnel dug just for us.
Yeah.
Straight from like a basement under our house, and then we get in a capsule, and it just vacuum shoots us.
I love it.
And we're like literally there in seconds. And there's no traffic because it's our tunnel.
I mean,
nobody else gets to use the tunnel, just us.
I mean, if we're dreaming,
yeah,
why not? Why not? Let's do it. I really want exactly what you just said. That sounds awesome. No, but I do like the idea of perhaps in 10 years, because obviously I love making Minecraft videos. I love what we do. I love doing the streaming that we do. There's everything I'm doing right now is an avenue that I'd like to see work out even more than the current state that it's in, right? So where do I see myself realistically in 10 years? God, that's tough, man. That is a tough question. I should stop asking people this, because when I really think about it, I like the way things are now. I really liked B-Dub's answer, because his answer was, I would be fine if nothing changed. He didn't need any more. This is why he's going to outlive all of us, right?
Yeah.
And I can get on board with that. I think life is very, very good right now. I like where I'm at. I would like to have, I don't know why I'm so money driven. I don't like that about myself, but it's not about money for me. It's about leaving my kids with a good amount. You know what I mean? And not for them to be spoiled, but for them to be comfortable and for them to, I like that idea. You know, I would like to do that. I'm in no position to do any of that right now, but hopefully in 10 years, I'm in a place to where this is all worked out well enough to where I'm able to leave behind something. And that would be a pretty fantastic kind of breaking of the cycle in my family. It would be good. And I think that would be very welcome. And that's something that I would like to do, but how I'm going to do it, I don't know.
Let me ask you this. If let's say you publish a video and for whatever reason, it blew up. I mean, I'm talking like 50 million views.
Goodness gracious.
And the CPM, cost per mille, whatever, is like outrageous. Like YouTube just went crazy that day. And that video alone made you like $1 million.
Okay.
Let's just say.
Let's have some
We're
fun.
dreaming, right?
Yeah, we're dreaming.
Here we go. We're on that ride.
Yeah.
You get $1 million overnight, unexpectedly. Does that change anything that you do?
No, I keep working.
Because that then gives you that, right? That financial security.
It gives me more.
I mean, it's not out of the woods.
$1 million is not what it used to be. And so, and that's, I mean, that would be amazing. Don't get me wrong. And that would be life-changing, but it wouldn't be life-changing enough to where I could just stop. I would be like, no, that's a huge boost for what I'm trying to do for my family. Humongous boost is what that would be. But I got to keep going, right? So if I could make several of those, can I do that? God, 50 million views. Can you imagine? I can't. I straight up can't imagine.
I don't know that my YouTube channel over the course of
course.
Maybe I gotta look.
I would say most definitely.
I'm so bad with numbers.
I know.
Like,
yeah, I know you are.
Like every time somebody's like, "How much did that cost?" I'm like, "I don't know, money." You know what I mean? Like I don't. Well, because when I do, one time I did decide to do this. I'm off on a tangent now, but one time I did decide to do this. I go grocery shopping with my wife, and I basically am just a glorified cart pusher. You know what I mean? Like that's all I do. I push the cart, and my whole job is to stay out of people's way because I can't stand when people are in my way in the grocery store. So I do not ever want to be that guy. And every once in a while I get caught being in the way, and I'm so ashamed of myself, and I'm so mad at myself when that happens. And I just imagine the people are mad at me the way I get mad at people. But anyway, so my wife does everything. She's good with the coupons and being thrifty and like making sure she's finding the deals and all that stuff. And I don't pay attention at all. You know, like if it was up to me, I just grab. I don't even think about it. Don't even look at the price. Well, I was like, you know what? Just this once. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna look and see. That was a mistake, man.
Yes.
Because everything she grabbed, I was like, that's water. Why does it cost $15?
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean?
It's
like
out of control right now.
What? Why is everything so expensive? And anyway, so I'm like, I'm never doing that again. It stresses me out.
No, it's awful. We went shopping. I mean, I do that. I actually like look at the numbers and everything, and then once an outing will finish, I'll come home because sometimes we have to get a couple different things and a couple different stores in a mall. That was $500. Just and I look at what we got for the house in a mall. That's not like over a month's worth of stuff. That's like a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's happening right now? You know what I mean? Like, but that's just where the economy is right now. The groceries are out of control.
Yeah.
I think we're all aware of that. A lot of things are out of control. But you're right. You don't really but you do that. That extends beyond the grocery store for you, dude. Well, when we buy stuff for the podcast, like you'll buy something and it's like really, it's awesome. That's why we have great quality. And I'm like, how much was this? You're like, I don't know. I actually need you to know how much that was because we're talking thousands of dollars. Yeah. You're like, this is actually a lot of money. And that you're right. So I do pay attention to that stuff, and I struggle greatly to buy stuff for myself, and my family's very well aware of that. I don't care that much about money when it's for my family, but when it's for me, I do care all of a sudden. I just, whatever. So, okay, this podcast, The Distance, it's 10 years from now. Let's get away from the beach scene. That would be great, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's try to speak in terms of reality because
that was definitely like
that's a like out there fun
when the lottery
version.
struck by lightning kind of odds.
That was the 50 million views video. We've been doing this show for over 2 years now, nonstop. It's insane. It still feels to me like. Are
you sure?
I'm sure. This is 52 weeks in a year, and it's
we've
far over
that a while
104.
ago.
This is episode like one.
I think we even talked about it.
What episode is this?
See, I told you it's bad with numbers.
120 something. I don't.
Yeah,
care.
I think it's like 120,
something like that.
120,
Whatever.
120.
My point being this is we love doing this show. We have been very consistent. We have been very dedicated to upping our quality. It's been over 2 years of perfect execution. And in regards to what this show is bringing, could we provide for our families based on what it's bringing? Not even effing close, right? We know that. Let's just go, we're being honest here.
It's a passion project.
It's a passion project that we'd like to see more grow.
Yeah.
Let's be I want to be very honest about this conversation. We love doing this.
Mm-hmm.
We love doing it. And it is moving in the right direction. But the rate at which it's moving, if this stays constant, we will be able to provide for our families in about 75 years. So that's not realistic, right? So what that tells us is that the only way that this show is going to give us what it is that we need to provide is for there to be a drastic change and some huge exposure, whatever. So which means we need to start to pivot our own optics in regards to how we're handling it, and we need to get more deliberate about how to grow it, whatever. All right, so 10 years, let's pretend we made that change, we pulled that lever, and we can do this. I do like the idea of even just the way we do it now in this studio, whatever, and this
keeping
is what we do.
Like,
yes, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? I like it. I like what we're doing right now. But can you imagine? You have to be honest with ourselves and with our audience right now. We love doing this show, and I'm not going to use the phrase phoning it in. I don't think we phone this in, but it could be argued that we do because we are spending 1 day a week doing this, because that is literally all we can afford. All the other days are dedicated to doing the things that make it so we can feed our family.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is just the reality that we find ourselves in. But if we're able to make a change somehow, or maybe it becomes a exponential growth to our liking, then who knows, man? Next thing we know, it's not. I mean, we might be producing one a week, but we are working much more at it.
The whole week is preparing and like securing amazing guests.
Researching.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. Like we do so many things where all right, you ready for this? How about this? You know what kind of podcast I want to do, man? I'd like to do one on the dinosaurs. I'd like to do one on space. I'd like to do one on history in general.
I was going to say American history's got to be up there.
Oh, way up there.
You like that guy? What's it, Graham? Something?
Lindsey Graham.
Graham?
American History Tellers. Like, I would love to
get him on the show.
I would love to get him on the show.
Anybody best friends with Lindsey Graham? Tell him we want him on the show.
Reach out, because this guy's my hero.
I've never heard the podcast, but you're so passionate about it.
Oh, dude, the homework that's what I mean. Like, the homework that he does is amazing. Every podcast he's done, I would like to do my own special on it. I would love to do a podcast on the Salem witch trials. And because of the research that I've done on his, I could kind of talk to it. But if we were to do one, I would spend 4 days of that week just maximizing my acumen. And then we can really, really talk. You know what I mean? Like that is the type of podcast I would eventually, I'd like this the podcast I would like to see this podcast become is far more mature than the prepubescent being that it is right now. We meet, we brief for a couple minutes, and then we hit record, and we have some fun. And the reason it works is because we've known each other so long, and we can ding off each other well. You know what I mean?
As much as I like our sit downs where you and I just have these casual conversations and stuff like that, I really do like our chemistry with a guest.
Me too.
Because I feel like we've really figured out like the ping pong, like, you know, I talk to the guest a little bit, and then you talk to the guest a little bit, and then we talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I feel like the way that the cadence of those like interviews. And I don't know why I struggle to call them interviews. Interviews feel so like put on a tie and a jacket,
Like formal,
and
official.
I like calling our guests hangouts. You know what I mean? Because we do like to keep it casual and let them feel comfortable in being on the show, you know, because it is just in the end of the day, just a conversation with people, you know. But I think we would put much more into it. I mean, we don't do the things you're supposed to do.
No.
You know, we don't make shorts and TikToks.
Oh, there's another thing.
And
that's the stuff
advertise and all that stuff.
We want to get huge. That's the stuff that we really need to be doing. We've dabbled in it.
Yeah.
Right? We hired somebody and they did a good job, but we only dabbled in those shorts. Like this needs to be every day.
All the
TikTok
time,
needs to be getting inundated with us. And it is. Oh, for the record, it actually is happening. People are doing it. It's just not us. Like I've seen, I get like I'll be on TikTok and I'll see shorts of our show come across by some other channel that was created to create shorts for our show, which isn't
a bad thing.
No, it's a great dude.
That's free exposure.
Yes,
basically.
People are like, "Oh, dude, are you mad?" I'm like, "What? You kidding me? This is great."
No, somebody created a website that has all of our podcasts on it, and if you go to the website, you can pull up any podcast that we've ever done, 120. And you can search, you can watch it, and if you watch it, it's a view for us.
It's still good,
on Spotify's platform, I think, and it's totally fine. Like the person reached out and they're like, "Hey, are you okay with me having this website?" And I'm like, "Yeah, totally."
Yeah.
Someday we may be like, you know, I wish we actually own the rights to that domain or whatever, and things might change. But at the time, it's like, well, we don't have the time to make a website.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not like. It's like, yeah, we should have that site, but we don't have that site. We didn't do it. They did.
Yeah.
So you know what? Thanks, man.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
go, have at it, and they did a great job too. For the
it's pretty
record.
slick.
Yeah.
We
Very
do have a site just for our merch.
Yeah.
Which we never plug. See, we're bad at this
There
stuff.
we go again.
We don't plug Patreon enough. We don't plug our merch enough. It's not like we want to be sellouts, but like you said, it's like if we want this to go somewhere, these are the businessy things that we need to get better at.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's something to think about. All right. Well, let's pretend this show we quit. Right. Let's pretend.
Yeah, I was gonna say we just talked about like hitting every single week for over 2 years now. I mean, I can't imagine that's going to sustain through 10 years, if we're talking 10 years, right? Like,
why not? Why not?
I don't know. It's felt like a miracle that we've done it this long.
Well, it does, but it when I said 2 years, we were blown away because it still feels like we just started.
It does.
You know what I mean? So to me, it's not that.
God, I feel like I'm orange again.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
God, that episode. What was that?
Second episode or whatever it was, the camera settings. We had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah, we were new.
We still don't.
We're still new.
It's so weird. Yeah, to be 2 years in and still feel like such a baby.
Yet when we have guests on, a lot of the things that many of the guests say off camera is, guys, this is the real. You guys have a real show here, and that's what they talk about. They're like, you guys are. This is a very professional podcast, which feels good to us because we still are like, what? We have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I've got good friends who, when we first started, they listened to us audio only, but they were like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and you guys, your quality is like top shelf. What is it you're using? How are you doing this? I'm like, well, you know, we spent the money.
My co-host.
My co-host spent all of our money.
Spent all the money. I mean, we got good mics. We got a good processor. We got good cameras now.
Yeah.
And we didn't in the beginning. We kind of had to do the baby step thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we started with the microphones, but like the cameras, we baby stepped the cameras, and I didn't know what I was like.
I didn't know.
No idea.
Neither one of us knew.
Like, yeah.
We knew we wanted these mics. We didn't have the Rodecaster at the time.
Yeah. Oh
So-
yeah, we tried to go into some other device.
I
And
don't even
didn't
remember
work
what
out
it
well,
was. Yeah.
But yeah, so now we have like we could have like a Hall of Fame, a museum of like
Yeah.
our devices that we've gone through.
Yeah.
That could be fun. Well, for me, I would love doing that because I'm a gear junkie.
Yeah.
But like now I got a closet full of stuff. I'm like, do we sell this stuff? Like the
know.
older stuff? Like, do we try
We
to
should
recoup
autograph
some
it
of that?
and auction it off, man. I don't know. Who knows? But okay, but let's pretend this show doesn't work. Let's just do it.
Okay.
Right?
So what would make the show end? Let's start there. Like you said, it's not the best business decision if we're just strictly talking business, passion aside, right? Because this is a passion project. Business decision. Oh, we need that day back because we need to make other content that's going to actually put food on the table.
Right.
And so we're like, okay, well, shoot, that means
That's one thing.
podcast done.
You and I could
Have a falling out
we could have a falling out.
after all these years.
You can't take
son
it
of
for
a-
granted, man. You can't take it for granted.
That's true.
You know, you and I could have a falling out. I mean, it happens. I mean, and especially not a lot of friends. We don't even spend that much time together.
God, I
That's-
feel like it would have happened by now
I would
because
think
we
so,
have been
too.
through our stuff, like,
Yeah.
like normal people.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it would have. I'm sure we're fine. But, anyways, that's something that can happen. One of us could move to another state, and it could become unmanageable. Something tells me if one of us moved to another state, we would try to find a way. Maybe once every 2 months, we would travel and stay for a week and try to bang out 8 episodes
Dude,
worth.
Pixel Riffs and Joel Duggan never
Well,
have met
fair.
in person.
Yeah,
ever,
but that's not what our
and
show
they
is. Our
make it
show
work.
is
Yeah.
this. I mean,
Yeah, it's
there'd be
true.
too much of a change, you know. But maybe that was a dumb thing for me to say just now. But you're right. Maybe the answer would be to pivot and do what they do, adapt, right? Okay, so there's 3 different things. There's lots of different things that could put this whole thing at risk. Well, then what? Then how about this? You ready for this? What if I died tomorrow?
Don't say that.
I mean, what if I 24 hours from now I'm dead? What are you going to do? Like it's not, are you going to try to find another co-host? It's not going to hurt my feelings if you say yes. But or are you going to be like, the show's, that's it?
Well, I got 120 hours of you. I'm pretty sure I could just do like an AI model, and it would.
That's actually,
know.
that's just feed it the information of you just want it to be complimentary of you the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole time, it's just feeding my ego
Yeah.
because that's what I need.
Yeah. No, but the show doesn't survive, and it doesn't happen. So now, 10 years from now, are you still making Minecraft?
Oh, jeez.
Are you still playing Phasmo?
Oh, I bet not. I bet not, and not because I've fallen out of love with either one. It's
yeah.
just that time is what it is, you
Mhm.
know. God, there was a quote you used to do. Remember when we used to do? See, there's another example. Remember when we used to do the SMB streams where I combined
Yep.
all 4 cameras, and you would do a segment on it called the Deep End.
The deep end.
And it was always insightful. It was basically like the podcast before the podcast. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yes,
it
was.
was like if we had just started a podcast then, maybe we would have been where we're talking about. But anyway, you used to say something to the likes of, and you'll have to fix this because I don't remember the quote exactly, but like all things like come to an end, that type of thing. What was the line you would say?
It was
Do you
something to
remember?
that effect. I would say
Yeah.
like
Everything comes to an end,
Nothing's
basically.
permanent. Everything ends.
Yes,
And
everything ends.
We have to have peace at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so like thinking about this podcast, thinking about being a creator on YouTube and making Minecraft videos, a streamer and Phasmo and all the things that have happened there. I mean, they will come to an end. That's just the way it is at some point, whether it's tomorrow or 10 years from now or 20 years from now, I don't know. But to think what's going to happen after that. I know that I like this space. I like this creative space. So whatever happens, I want to stay in this space.
Mhm.
If I couldn't be in front of a camera and creating content that people actually want to watch anymore because there's whatever, they just grew tired of me. Maybe I said something that got me canceled. I don't know. I would still want to work with people in this industry. I would want to maybe be like a coach or mentor to up and coming. Because there's a lot of, not saying I don't have the energy anymore. I still have the energy and the drive to like do this and I still want to every day make content, and I still get super jazzed to walk into the studio and hit record. But at some point I wonder if that energy is going to deplete, as I've done it for a decade already.
Right.
I'm just waiting for that kind of shoe to drop. And there will be people out there that have the same hunger that I had starting off, and they just don't know what to do with that energy. And I would love to kind of like get in their ear and be like, okay, I've gone down this path. I know exactly what you need to do.
Me too. I've done it. I've been mentoring people. Yes.
And aside from being like technical support for a lot of creators, which I would love doing too. I would love to steer people in the creative direction as well, as far as like, here's how to grow a channel, and here's why your audience isn't sticking past the first 10 seconds of your video and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I feel like I would be a better coach than I am actually a doer, But
I don't know. I think you're an incredible doer. That'd be hard to out coach your doing, because you're an incredible doer of the stuff. And so and I'm sure you'd be a great coach too, but I'm with you. That is not boy, I don't know. I think I've been helping some people who want to do that. I give them some goals, right, on what to do, make sure that it's something that they want to do. And one of the most promising tools I've given them is something that you and I did. And I was like, you got to set yourself a goal of X amount of releases over this amount of time or per week or whatever it is. And you have to commit to it no matter what. And so I bring up the example of 20 episodes. You and I committed. We said, no matter what, we're going to do 20 podcasts. And that's 5 months worth. That's a long time to commit to something that you're completely unfamiliar with. And we committed, dude. And we was like, dude, rain, sleet, we're getting it done. And we got all 20. And some were good and some were bad, but it was irrelevant. We said it doesn't matter how bad they are. We're going to do 20 Fridays in a row. And we did. And then once we do it, now we can talk about if this is something that we want to do. Yeah. And we got to 20 and we're like, yeah, we definitely want to keep going.
We re-upped.
Yeah, we re-upped. Well, now we're at like 120. I mean, that was literally, we hit our goal 100 weeks ago. That's insane. And now here we are. So that's one of the things I've done as people who want to get into this. I give them some guidance in regards to some of the fundamentals from a technological standpoint. Decide who you are, who you want to be in this world. Be okay with the fact that you might have to shift around a little bit, and what you end up learning on what you only think you know what you want to be right now. Set a goal for yourself, get a thick skin, rinse and repeat. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just do it. And then you're going to understand if this is for you or not.
So what about you? Are you making Minecraft videos in 10 years, you think?
Well,
maybe 5 years. Maybe we go 10 years. It just feels so daunting. 5 years.
Yeah. And
I'll tell you what, 5 years ago, I thought I was done.
Yeah.
I think I told you that.
You did.
You were like, yeah, you're doing your shield again.
Yeah.
Like,
my channel's dead.
You called my BS on that for sure. Yeah. And it was me protecting myself, because at the time, this was before COVID and everything. The channel actually wasn't doing that well. And I was at a kind of a fork in the road with my career at my last job. It was like, basically it was like I had been spending time making content on the side as a hobby, and it had a chance to go somewhere. So I was putting effort into it. I was losing sleep, which was, I knew was unsustainable, but because I wanted it so bad, I was willing to sacrifice something, and I think anytime you want something really bad, there's sacrifice involved, but that's a whole nother, I mean, that's almost going back to the podcast we did a couple weeks ago. By the way, real quick update. Because not everybody, we talked about my daughter and trying out for club.
Let's do it.
I might as well give an update. It's happened. She's tried out and she made the team. She's made the regional team on for club.
That's so
and it's
exciting.
happening now. And she's over the moon about it. She every time they don't let me watch practice, which makes me sad. Every time I pick her up from practice,
talk about who they is. So,
the club.
Yeah.
The club has a rule where parents aren't allowed to sit and watch the kids practice. And she practices twice a week, and we're allowed to come for the last 15 minutes. So I'll take that. But anyway, so every time I pick her up, she's just talking about how she's made another new best friend on the team. You know what I mean? Like, she's just her friendship circle is growing.
It's gonna get tight,
and she's enjoying the experience. And then of course, like, her skills are growing exponentially. Like, at some point, I'm just waiting for her to like plateau or something. But she made the team. Very, very exciting. So I just want to give an update on that. Now I got to remember where I was before that. The channel. So 5 years ago, I was basically knowing that I was kind of mailing it in at work. You know, I was doing the bare minimum to not get fired because all my other effort and time and brain power was going into, can I make something out of my YouTube career?
Yep.
And it was going well, but not enough. You know what I mean? Like I was teetering on kind of like this podcast. It was like, we're doing a good thing. It is growing, but it's not like we can make a living off of it and it alone. And that's where it was like, my job was like, are you going to like be the amazing employee we know you can be? Because there's a position that you could go do, but it's going to be like your everything. Like this job has to become your life. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, because I was still like wanting to do this YouTube thing. And I was looking at how everything was going, and I was like, oh, well, I got to make a decision here. And I think that's when I started to be like, I think this is going to end for me. I think I'm going to have to throw in the towel on YouTube. And we had those talks, and I was like, oh, my channel's dying. And it wasn't really dying. It was just like, I didn't really feel like it was ever going to become a thing. And I almost did. I almost pulled the plug. And then I had to gut check, I had to like really look internally and be like, if I make this decision and stop making YouTube videos, and I put everything into this job, and I take this opportunity, and I become a workaholic for that job, am I going to be happy at the end of the day? And after really evaluating those thoughts, I realized no, it wasn't going to make me happy.
Yeah.
And at that point, I kind of like doubled down on the YouTube thing. I became a worse employee.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say a bad employee. Like I became efficient. Like super efficient.
Yeah, that's what happens, dude. That's what happens. I'm telling, this is so much fun. I mean, we could do a TED Talk on this. I might do a TED Talk on this, dude. Is that like, it is exactly what you said, where you maximized efficiency, right? And that is the way to be. By the way, you were at about 95,000 subs when you almost shut down your channel, because what you told me was, I'm just going to get to 100,000 subs and I'm closing my channel. And that's when I'd had enough.
I just wanted
that's
my
what you
silver
said.
play button.
Yeah. Like I remember I don't want to bleep it out. So you said that, and I said, shut the F up. You know what I mean? I was like, enough of this, because I know you're doing your thing. You're not going to shut down your channel. You're not going to do that. Just double down and just do your thing. You're doing great. But you were like, my channel's dead. Okay, I'm just getting 100,000. I quit. And I was like, you're such an idiot. You're going to keep going, dude. Things are going great. And sure enough, you're like 1.2 million now, and which is awesome. But you're right. You maximized efficiency at work because you were put in a corner, dude. This is what happens. You back somebody into a corner and they're going to lash out. And that's what this was. Our corner was trying to manage both careers. And yes, I said it was the same thing, where I was offered a pretty stellar position at work and I turned it down. And I've talked about this on the podcast before, and I turned it down. And the gentleman who I turned it down to was shocked. He was like, because he literally thought I misheard him. He was like, do you understand what's happening right now? He was so confused. He's like, you're going to run the organization. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And he's like, what? And it was because I just knew this is way before Hermitcraft, way before all that. I was like, in my brain, I wasn't going to tell him, but in my brain, I was like, I know what I want to do and I know what I'm pointing at. And I need to look for opportunities to clear out of the way. If I take that job, my whole life is going to be that job. That's what it's going to be. So I didn't. So I took a lower job, and I enjoyed that lower job very much. And it got to a point to where, keep in mind, this is really highly technical stuff, and I'm very admittedly not a highly technical person. And I was getting my projects done at breakneck speed because I wanted to get back to this. I wanted to get back to making Minecraft videos. And this is when I was doing like solo Skizz. You know what I mean? I was just doing like stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And but I wanted to get back to this. Well, because I wanted to get back to this, I maximized efficiency. And my colleagues were like, I've been on my project. They told me, I've been on my project for 2 years. You're brand new. You got your project done in 7 weeks. I'm like, yeah, because you're spinning your wheels on a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Just get the job done. Just do it. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for a million people to say, yes, I guess that's a good idea. And just pull the trigger. Watch what happens. And that's how I was able to get that done. And they really, really like that. Maximizing efficiency. And you did the same exact thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I wonder if I want to talk to my boss that I had for so many years. Because now that I've left and I told him why I was leaving, and he was absolutely shocked. But at the same time that he was shocked that I was this like YouTuber guy, he also was like, oh, like another thing clicked, and he's like, oh, actually that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because I had made like training videos for the company and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And every time I did something, he's like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, I dabble in video editing and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
and you know, I treated it like, you know, oh, it's just a little hot side hobby I do. And then, but then when I told him, he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to know though. Like, I really want to look this guy up and see, because I bet you he's not with the company anymore either. So now we could have a real conversation, you know, that doesn't involve like politics. I want to know if he knew, like, if he could tell that I was not phoning it in, but running under that kind of condition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wonder if there's any inclination, or if I sold it, that I was actually like a good employee. You know?
No, you were a good employee, dude.
But I mean, like the fact that I would like get my job done in the first 2 hours of the day and then spend the next 6 MIA. You know what I mean? That had to have been a red flag to somebody.
Well, but you understand, in the industry that we used to work in, there was a phrase we would use that the more you work, the more you work.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing. It doesn't matter how it's reason. It's this would go in my TED talk, by the way. It's the reason people are so inefficient, because who cares? Like, just get their job is to be there at 8 o'clock and leave at 5 o'clock. That's their job, is to be there at 8 o'clock and leave at 5 o'clock. I will be done by 10. I'm like, listen, I'm going to head out. And they're like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm done. I don't need this anymore. And that was when I went in, you know what I mean? And I'd be like, I got my stuff done. Well, I would say simple things to them. Like, I would be like, hey, there's something we got to do. And he's like, well, I'm on a meeting. And I'm like, why are you on this meeting? He's like, because it's on my calendar. I'm all, why are you here? What do you do? What do you need
value
from this?
do you actually add?
What are you getting from this, or what are you adding to it? Nothing. Hang up, because we have to settle this. And they would be like, you're right. And they would hang up. Nobody knew they even hung up. But that is like the status quo for that world.
Yeah.
You and I, we saw the light and we wanted to do something else. So it made us become efficient. Imagine the knowledge I have now. Let's talk about the future. If I had to go back to that world, which I hope I never have to, by the way, if I have to go back to that world, the knowledge I have now, it will be operating at maximum efficiency, just the way I left it. And it's the reason I was so frustrated when I did leave, because I was being forced into a very inefficient world. I got my rhythm down. I was moving, and then they added all these processes that I had to adhere to. And my response was, no. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that. So I didn't. And I just not doing it. I kept doing my job. I'm not going to that meeting. Here's what's going to happen if you guys adhere to this. You're going to shift from value to numbers. And the number is going to be this garbage PAS number, progress against schedule. That means nothing in regards to the value that we add. So no, I'm going to do my thing, until people started complaining to my boss's boss. And my boss was like, I've just heard enough. Can you please just go to the meeting? I'm all, okay, I'll go to your stupid waste of time meeting. He's like, they want you there Monday through Friday. Can you just go one day a week? I'm like, yeah, I'll go. I'll waste my time one day a week. That's what I'll do.
See, this is why Peter got promoted.
That's exactly right.
In Office Space. You remember Office Space?
Yes.
Because like as soon as he like stopped caring, if you will, like that's all of a sudden when it was like he was productive, I guess.
It came off like he was so confident and aware, when all it really meant, he was just saying what everybody was thinking. And he's like, I have 8 bosses. You know what I mean? And that's when they realize, oh, you're not the problem. It's this place is stupid. Yeah. You know, but he just said it because everybody else didn't say what was wrong with the company. They didn't want to get fired. He didn't care. So it came off like he was just wise.
So in Office Space, love the movie, by the way. I should watch it again, because it just occurred to me that I'm actually like forgetting some of the main parts of it. But
go ahead, fire away. Because here's the deal.
What was Peter's dream job?
to do nothing.
Exactly. Okay. So let's go down that. Let's go down that.
This isn't just about me and my dream of doing nothing.
Exactly.
This is about all of us.
Yeah. Okay. Is doing nothing your dream job?
Oh, what a great question. No, I got to create, man.
Yeah.
I have to create for now. Maybe my disposition will change as I get older and more cynical, but I have to make stuff. I have to make stuff. This morning, it was hard for me to come over here, even though I knew we were going to be making stuff. I made the mistake of getting into my computer. I had to look up a song for somebody to give them permission on something. I went into and I looked at some of my footage for my next Hermitcraft video, and I'm all, God, man, all I want to do is just make this video now. That's all I want to do. But I got to go make this podcast, and then we're going to record.
You get to go
I get to make this
I'm learning
podcast.
from you.
Thank you. You're right. I get to make this podcast, and then I get to film
Life series.
the live. I'm trying to see if saying that is any spoilers. No, you guys don't know when we film this podcast. I get to make this podcast, and then I get to make the live series, and then I get to edit the live series, and then the day is done, and I haven't done anything on. And then tomorrow I get to do something, and I get to do something else, and only one of the something.
That one you're protected. I like that one.
Yeah, I have to protect it right now. Yeah,
we have so many projects that we can't.
it's all great stuff.
It is all great stuff.
It's all great stuff, but it's everything's at risk. But the bottom line is, my dream job is definitely not doing nothing.
Yeah,
I would like the freedom to do nothing. That is what I would like. And we work with some amazing people who we know they don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah.
We're not going to say names, but we know that they don't need to do this.
Yeah.
They're fine, but they do it because they love it. That's where I want to be, dude.
Yeah.
I do it. I get to do it. And also I have to do it. I get to, and I have to.
Yeah. There is a point there. Like, there's no complaining, obviously.
None.
We're like literally, I got asked what my dream job was, and I said to be a YouTuber. Yeah. And so my dream is also not to do nothing. I would like to not feel like I have to do it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And part of that is the money, and part of that is FOMO. Like I suffer from FOMO anytime there's a project going on that I'm not a part of. You know what I mean? So I say yes to everything because I want to be in everything, which makes me extremely busy. So there are times when I wake up and I'm like, I'll change my words. I get to do this, and then I get to do this, and I get to do this, and I get to do this. Whew, that's going to be tough to fit all that in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you feel a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of stress from it. And the other day, I woke up, and it was one of those days. It was a stacked day where literally every minute was filled. And I was like, typically I stress out and I get upset about this. I'm going to reframe it mentally. I'm going to reframe this day in my mind. And I turned it into just I'm just going to go with the flow today. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not going to stress about it. If something goes sideways, so be it. I'm still doing what I love. A couple years ago, this was just my hobby, and this is what I wanted to end up doing, and now I'm here. So just make that realization and live in the moment and enjoy it, and remove all that stress, because all that stress I put on myself, and I put on myself by choice.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, you can control what you stress about if you can reframe it through a different lens.
Yes.
And I chose to do that day. And I just remember at the end of the day, I was like, man, I need to do that every day. Because there's so many days I wake up and I'm just like, oh my God, there's so much going on. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, why? I get to go into this amazing studio and make videos with my friends and create content that people are going to enjoy, and hopefully take them out of maybe a world that they're not happy in, or give them some sort of entertainment escape for a little bit. And hopefully, I'm making people laugh and smile and whatever. And I get to do that. So why am I upset? Why am I freaking out? Why am I stressed? Why, you know what I mean? And I just chose to do that. And I was like, it really did. It changed everything for me. Just like having that shift in thinking. But then at the same time, I'm like, okay, so this has turned into a job. It is. We have to make content. This is our job now, right? We have to make content to make money to put food on the table. I mean, but we love doing it. I'm not going to undersell that. But now, what's our hobby? You know what I mean? So that's where I started tripping, because I was like, this used to be my hobby. Now it's my job. What's my hobby now? I don't have time for a hobby.
Fantasy football is our only hobby. And it's minimum time.
Yeah.
It's absolute minimum exertion. And it is like that is why my Sundays are precious to me. And that's why, and my family knows it too. Like, don't try to set up plans with him on Sundays. And I'm grateful. My wife and I love watching football together, and I love my parents, but they know during football season, just, you know what? I got 17 weeks out of the year, 17 Sundays out of the year that I need people not to touch. It's 17 days out of the year. They happen to be on Sunday. They happen to be consecutive. And that's my hobby, but that's it. I realized because my wife and I were at Costco yesterday, or 2 days, whatever, yesterday, and 2 days ago, and we were there 2 days ago, and it's been, dude, I'm telling you, last week I had consecutive 15-hour days. Like that was a hard week. We're at Costco and we see the PS5. Right, PlayStation 5. You have one, and they are just
sexy.
So just the structure of it's so
sexy.
cool. It is. It's like this really slick, tall, thin pyramid, and it's very cool looking. Right? Is it a pyramid or is it a?
It looks like a futuristic building where it stands like a tower, and it like has this like
so it goes
curve
up and in,
like
or does it go out?
Both.
Like is the point? No, is the point on top or bottom?
There's no point. Is
it not
curves,
a triangle?
It curves in and out.
Okay.
Anyway,
It doesn't
sexy
matter.
looking.
Yeah.
I want to make a building in my Cyberpunk city that looks like
it's a really good looking thing. And I said to my wife, I said, look at this. I kind of want to get this PS5. And she goes, what are you going to play on it? And I said, I have no idea. I don't even know what games are anymore. I realized I don't play games for fun ever. I have fun playing games, but I play it because it's the position. I don't ever just like, that game sounds like fun. I'm just going to go put on some music and just play a game. I don't do it anymore. I would like to get into a space to where I can just do that whenever I want. And
I stayed up till
never do
11 o'clock Saturday night playing Power Wash Simulator. I cleaned a house. I washed windows on a house.
What?
Yep. It was awesome. That's what I'm saying. Like we've forgotten what a hobby is. you know what I mean? Like
that's the game you chose.
Well, I mean, it was a free demo, so
okay.
You know. But
because I want to get into Call of Duty, dude.
Yeah, we talked about this with Pearl.
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to get into it.
With a controller, though?
No.
Dude, that's one thing I realized playing. We are way off on tangent now. That's one thing I realized with getting the PlayStation is remote controls. Like, after being on a keyboard and mouse, I suck at using a controller.
I have no idea how people use them.
And I'll tell you, the PlayStation 5, while we're on it, their controller is the most amazing thing ever. It's got like so many things. It has like tactical feedback on the triggers. So I was playing a game where you are a spring. You're this guy and he's got a spring base and you tilt the controller. So it's got the, what's it called? Gyro?
Yeah, the gyroscope in it.
The gyroscope. You tilt the controller to like lean the guy, but then you have to pull down on the trigger and that's what pulls the spring. But as you pull the trigger, it gets harder to push as you get more in.
What?
Because it is acting like the spring. It's got that tactical like feedback on the trigger. And then there's like a touchpad in the middle of the controller that I could like scribble my name on and stuff. And so there was like you have to zip something up and you have to do the zipper on the pad. Zip.
Wow.
And then there was a part where you needed to make wind and you blow on the controller.
No.
Yep. Dude.
That's pretty cool.
It's sick. Technology is coming a long way.
I think keyboards and mice need to step it up.
Dude,
how come
seriously,
mice don't vibrate?
I had this thought the other day too. How is it computers were invented a long time ago, like more than 50 years at this point?
Yeah.
Why has there been no innovations with keyboard and mice?
I know.
What's happening?
The mouse was the innovation.
Right?
Yeah.
How has it held strong for that long?
Yeah.
It's got to be time.
I don't know. You make a good point. Honestly, I mean, I would argue.
No, I wasn't on anything when I had this realization.
No.
That sounds
No,
like
I'm with you.
Like a weird thought, but
honestly, bro, homie, buddy, you make a good point because it could be argued that PC gaming is relatively new in the world of computers.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, computers existed and it was a monitor and it was a keyboard. And then one day they were like, there's something missing here. And it was the mouse. The mouse was created a long time ago. This was all for data, input, output. That's it. You don't need any sort of feedback or fun experience with that. You just need to get the job done. And then games found their way in. And it's been really, really neat. Sorry. It's been really neat. And the mouse evolved to have more buttons and stuff, but that's it.
Yeah.
It stopped. And then they put lights on it. Who cares? Make it react. You know what I mean? I want my mouse to like, it also like, dude, I should have a little, what are we doing talking about this? This is another podcast. We got to move on.
We've already had the immersive gaming one. But,
Yeah.
But like, it did occur to me. I'm like, that's insane. But we got on the tangent because we were talking about
How about
hobbies.
This? Here's something I would like. This is if I could have anything I wanted in the future. Yes, I want this podcast to work out. Okay. But okay. I want you, I would really like you and I and I've been very clear about this, is I would like us to corner the market in collab streaming. Because like for collab games, I would like it when a game comes out, a game like It Takes Two, specifically a game that's about two people playing the game. I would like it if the developers were like, can you imagine if we got Impulse and Skizzleman to do this demo for us or whatever? That's where I want us to go. It's why I love doing Phasmo with you. It's why I like streaming with you in general. You know what I mean? But we need to, I mean, Phasmo is almost like too good. Like it's almost too interesting because it's thwarted our desire to look outside and find other games. We need to be doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'd like to corner the market in that because I do like streaming too. Streaming's fun, man.
It is.
Streaming's a lot of gig.
I like streaming too. I think there's it's almost like two different jobs. You know what I mean? Like creating YouTube videos versus streaming sometimes feel like two completely separate
very
careers.
Different jobs.
You know what I mean?
Very.
And we do both.
It sounds like, oh, you're a content creator. It's one job. It's not.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, we're performers. When it comes to making YouTube videos, we're also editors. And for streamers, we're live performers. I mean, that's a very different thing than being a recorded performer. It's a difference between a movie in Hollywood and a stage on Broadway. Those are very different crafts, right? And so we do it all, you know, and I love doing all of it. And also a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love all of it.
God,
man.
just talking about streaming, I just realized that I completely forgot to cancel my stream that I was supposed to do right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So let's talk
just
about
suddenly
that.
freaking out. Like the thought just came to my head and I just completely lost train of thought on what we're talking about.
We are not filming at a normal time right now. This is what I mean by this is what our life has been. We do the show, we do the pre-show. Again, just to plug it one more time. Patreon, you can see it in the description. It's growing. The patrons are growing. It's been great because our pre-show, we hit 30 people were part of the pre-show for the first time in this show's career, which was exciting, right? Over 30 people. So we are holding dear to that. It's every Thursday morning that we do it. We do the pre-show with you guys, and then we film. Well, we couldn't do it this time. I was like, listen, I hit you up Wednesday night, and I said, I cannot do the podcast tomorrow. If I do, I will not be able to finish my edit for the Life series, which has an embargo date, because now it wasn't even that. It was something else. It was another project I can't talk about right now, but you'll see soon enough. It was just a side project on Minecraft where if I failed, I wasn't failing me. I was failing somebody else. Somebody else on the Minecraft server had spent a lot of time putting something together, asked me to be part of it on a small level, and I had to do my part. In order to do myself, that small level was actually still kind of taxing, but I was like, this is about them, and I don't want to fail them. Yeah. So I was like, I can't do the podcast because if I do, I will not be able to finish for this because I've got to do this, and then I have to edit this, and I am not missing my nephew's football game. They're in the playoffs, and my wife is the cheer coach. I'm not missing that tonight. And I left your house, so I came over. We did the pre-show. And I said, I can't stream with you today. And we were going to do Phasmo. And you're like, what? And I explained the situation. And then you told me about your Zen. And I said, I'll be there. And I realized I'll work all night if I have to. I'm not missing this. I was about to give up Phasmo with my boy, who I love doing this with you. I was actively giving it up. And you and I switched places. You became Zen. I became panic ridden and ugly. And then I was like... Jeez. Sorry. I can't leave that joke to just lay it out in the ether and not execute it. And so I was walking to my car and I said, you know what? I'll be there for Phasmo.
I felt terrible because I thought I was like, me telling him about this, like changing my optics on the day and having that moment of peace with the busyness wasn't me trying to talk you into.
No, it wasn't.
Like, doing
and I didn't think you were.
You know,
but it just helped me see the light because I'm like, he's absolutely right. I'm giving up something I really enjoy doing because the panic is. I'll just work later tonight,
dude. Like you almost missed walking around the prison for an hour looking for a bone.
All right, you'd have to see it. Okay,
go look at my mod.
Yeah, that may not make a lot of sense.
Throw us a bone here. I think I named it because we literally walked around a video game.
It was
Phasmophobia is a video game.
And it was a dual stream. I did a charity stream that day too.
Yeah, you did a 5-hour stream.
Yeah, I had to do a 5-hour stream. It was Richard Thornton's Stream to Remember, and I popped and they did just
helped raise money for dementia.
Dude, we raised $5,600 in 2 hours. Because he created Clue on Minecraft, and me and Pearl joined him and me and Mr. Joker. Bunny Bond was there. Frilioth was there. Obviously, Richard Thornton was there. Anybody I'm forgetting, forgive me.
Richard Thornton, by the way, is when you hear the jingle of the
Ba-da-da.
podcast, that's
Welcome
him.
back to the show.
Yeah.
There's no telling where we'll go.
You know, at one point, my parents asked me if that was me singing.
What?
Yeah.
You're not Australian, man.
I know.
What's funny is if you
just conjured up this accent all of
I
a
know,
sudden,
yeah.
and suddenly I'm able to sing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I guess I'll just conjure up an Australian
Yeah,
accent.
love
This
my
is-
parents.
Not to mention, what's funny
Love you
is
guys.
he tried to hide his accent.
Did he?
That's why he says podcast. Because he would say
Podcast.
He would probably call it podcast. I don't care. He did a great job. That's Richard. And he made
That's
Clue and Minecraft. So we did the Clue, or Cluedo as they call it. And then we popped into the Phasmo stream. But as I was walking in my car, you're like, dude, it's okay if you can't make it.
Yeah.
And I pointed back at you. I said, I'll be there. Because I was like, I'm losing my way right now. I will be there. So I was there. We did this. Then I left on time to get to the football game. I did not want to miss the pregame. And I missed it by a landslide because there was an accident on the freeway. So I was in a parking lot. And I channeled my inner Gem because I was furious on the road. And then I was like, Gem would say, there's nothing I can do about this. And so I relaxed.
God,
and,
I love that. It's so simple.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
There's literally nothing I can do. So what am I going to,
like just reframing your thoughts can do so much.
Yeah. So instead, I just put on the radio and enjoyed it. And I got there and I watched the game and I left a little bit early because I had some more work to do when I got home. And I got home, I got it all done. And you actually ended up hitting me up that night.
I asked you if you got it all done because I knew you were having a stretch of a day.
Yeah. And I got it all done. And
I was
you're
proud
like,
of you.
Yeah, you did. You were like, dude, you crushed it today. That was a really nice thing for you to say. But my point being that like, there's so many different avenues and it's not entirely sustainable. So in the future, I would really like to be still doing this, but not dying doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like I'm going to share this with you. It's crazy. My sleep has been lacking because I haven't had a lot of time to sleep. And on top of that, when I have had time to sleep, I'm not sleeping well. So I'm waking up a lot.
Stress.
So I bought myself something. I bought myself it's an eye mask with Bluetooth speakers like flat in it. It's not like bulgy, it's like flat. So it's just basically looks like a headband, but it's got speakers in it. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna put this on and just because my mind is swimming the whole time, so I can't fall asleep. So I put on some ocean noises and it wasn't enough. I needed something different. And I'm like, I can't put on American History Tellers. It might be too interesting. I got to put on something that I think is boring. So I put on our podcast.
Dude.
I know. I heard it.
I'm so glad you didn't say my YouTube videos.
No.
Part of me was expecting it though, because
So when you said dude, it wasn't like, oh, you think our show's boring? It was no. I put on
well, I mean, I'm still part of it. So
Yeah.
I'm still half hurt.
every time I talk, it would perk me up. But you talk like, oh,
That's
there's
like I
good
really
stuff.
need something to fall asleep to, so I put on your stream VODs. Thanks, dude.
No, honestly.
No, I get that a lot though,
Me
and I'm
too.
fine with it.
I do too.
I've said that. I'm absolutely fine.
People
with
tell me they
Yeah.
they struggle to fall asleep unless they're listening to my streams.
If the timbre of my voice helps people sleep, I think that's awesome.
I'm fine with it.
I
I
like
don't get
being
it
a-
because
I
I
like-
scream a lot.
I like being a calming force, I guess.
Yeah, but
whatever helps people.
People are calmed by me like like how is
You
that
do
calming?
scream a lot.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm flattered. So I put us on, but here's what I'm getting at. I slept so well, and I did wake up a few times through the night, and I actually thought it was really fascinating because what I did was I went back to like the 50s and 60s, episodes 50s and 60s, and I just like picked a random. I don't even remember what I picked. And then anytime I woke up just a little bit, I would be like, oh, I forgot we talked about that. Then I drift off to sleep. And I wake up, oh, I forgot we talked about that. Then I drift off to sleep. But I fell into such an unbelievably deep sleep. I started lucid dreaming. Okay. Lucid dreaming, if you don't know, is where you are aware that you're dreaming. But here's what happened. In the dream, it's a broken sequence, but I've been dying to tell you this, okay? In the dream, I'm like, okay, I woke up and I thought I was awake in the real world. And I'm like, oh man, that was some good sleep. And I could hear our podcast. And I took the headband off and I was holding it in my hand and I could still hear our podcast. We're just still talking away. I'm all, what? And I took another one off my head. I'm all, what is this, man? Oh, I'm dreaming. I'm like, I'm dreaming right now. Oh, okay. I just got to wake up. Not so easy. So I'm trying to wake up. Next thing I know, I don't know why, but I'm in a car with you and you're talking. I'm all, dude, check it out. Bro, I'm dreaming right now, man. this is crazy because obviously you're not there and I know it, but I need you to do me a favor. I need you to take this headband off my head so I can wake up. You're all, what do you want about? And I'm all, just see the headband on my head? And I take it off and I'm all, see, and I'm holding it in my hand. And you're all, okay. I'm all, there's still one on my head, huh? I can hear your voice right now talking on our podcast. And you're all, bro, what is going on? And I lean forward. I'm all, take it off my head. I need you to take it off my head. And then I don't remember what happened, but I just like ended up waking up. But my point being, I was in such a deep sleep. I went to bed that night. I went to bed at like 9. Bro, I woke up at 8.
Whoa.
Yes. I woke up. So since I had the thing, since it was over my eyes, I peeked it up a little bit. I realized I'm actually awake and the sunlight was coming. I'm like, oh my, I can't believe how late it is. I hadn't slept past 8. It was literally exactly 8:20.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it, dude. And I was so charged all day. I felt amazing. And what did I do Saturday night? Because that was Friday night. I went to bed early. Like the second my wife got home, I didn't go to bed at 9. No, yeah, about 9. She got home, whatever. I went to bed early, got a lot of sleep. And then Saturday night, went to bed early again. Got a lot of sleep. And yesterday I just felt like crazy. I felt like I was 10 years younger.
Yeah.
And I realized, dude, I've not been living healthy. I got to get this sorted.
Yeah, it turns out sleep's actually important. Like all I guess our whole lives, it's like, oh, we'll be plenty of time to sleep when we die.
Yeah.
And all, like there's always
So
like that.
stupid.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's just because like the hustle culture, right?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily, I mean, yes, it did help a lot to get to where we are now.
Sure.
Because if I had given every night a full night's sleep, I wouldn't have had time to grow my channel ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we
Yes,
were
I do.
juggling. But it comes to a certain point and a certain age when it's very bad
Yep.
for us to lose so much sleep. And so I don't know, have we talked about my sleep apnea on this show at all? I
don't know. I don't think so.
So
This is worth talking about.
yeah, it
though.
is worth talking about. And it might be a good lead into a podcast we're going to do in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But I was feeling like even when I would try to get a full night's sleep, I woke up not feeling like I slept. And I was like, something's wrong. My wife had been complaining that my snoring had gotten worse and things like that. And when she would wake up in the middle of the night, she would like hear me stop breathing from time to time and stuff. And it was pretty concerning. And yeah, I was foggy brained. I was having headaches constantly and I never felt like I fully rested. And I was like, well, I need to look into this because it's been going on for a while. And I haven't felt like myself in like maybe over a year. And so it was Martin in the Littlewood. I don't know if he's out about this. I hope I'm not throwing his information out there.
I don't know. I'm sure it's fine.
Martin was diagnosed with sleep apnea and he got a CPAP and it changed his life. I think he's been outspoken about it because he feels the same way I'm about to tell you.
We can also check with him and I can cut that part out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
Just say he from now on.
yeah, so I got checked. I got checked for sleep apnea. I was like, maybe this is the thing. It fits the bill, you know?
Yeah.
And talking to him, he said he was going through the same type of thing. So I went and I got checked and it was bad. It was like almost new record bad. You know what I mean? Like they were like, wow.
Yeah.
How did you go this long? How are you still functioning? And so I got a CPAP machine. Hence the reason my hair is always messed up now. Because I gotta wear this stupid thing. As you were talking about a sleep mask, I was like, join the club. I wear a mask. And so anyway, I've been having this now for, I want to say 3 months. Maybe it's probably been longer because time is crazy. But I've had it for a while now. And it has completely changed me. It's like it sucks. I don't like wearing this thing every night. It sucks. I got used to it, but I don't like it. But I wake up actually feeling refreshed. I'm sleeping much better. I'm not waking up as much in the middle of the night because I'd basically wake myself up from suffocating myself.
Oh,
you know
God.
what I mean? And you're cutting oxygen off to your brain, which is the reason why my brain wasn't functioning as well as it should have been.
Yeah.
You know, I'd wake up with headaches and stuff. So I've been on the CPAP now for, God, it makes me feel like old or something. But honestly, when I was getting checked up and stuff, there was all ages, you know, sexes, you name it, in there. Like this is affecting like healthy young men as well, you know, healthy young girls, and even, anybody can be affected by it. So it was definitely a life changer, and so it just made me realize after I had kind of felt the before and the after of like what it felt like to actually get real sleep. I was like, wow, sleep is pretty freaking important.
Yeah.
And so now I'm a huge advocate of like trying to make sure I get, anybody gets the right amount of sleep for them, because I think it's important to function.
Yeah.
So
It's a big deal. Like getting that sleep was my life felt noticeably different, you know?
yeah. Yeah, like I look back at who I was and how I acted and how I felt and everything during that time when I had the really bad sleep apnea but didn't know it. And like I don't even recognize that person anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So maybe I hit it well enough on camera, but in my everyday life, it's completely changed, and it's changed my energy. And now I'm doing all the other things I should be doing that I didn't have the energy to do before.
Yeah.
Like taking care of myself, like exercise, other stuff, taking care of myself, exercising, eating right, all that other stuff, like doing projects. I took down that cactus that died in my front yard
Yeah.
the other day
Yep.
with a sledgehammer, by the way, because my chainsaw didn't work. I used a sledgehammer to take out a cactus, dude. I'm pretty sore, actually.
That's like kind of cool and also a little stupid. Like, how did you not get hurt? Jeez.
Anyway, so yeah, it's important. Taking care of yourself is important.
Yeah.
I want to be the best I can be.
Especially if we want the longevity. If we're going to be talking about 10 years in the future,
Yeah.
we need to make sure we're taking care of ourselves now, because I'd like to still be doing it. And also, I wouldn't mind it if maybe a future career of mine, I wouldn't mind being a public speaker. I like the idea of traveling and speaking at venues, because public speaking is something I very much enjoy, and I don't do it ever. You know what I mean? And
Hey,
so that can be
we had the
something-
panel at TwitchCon. We get little glimpses of it.
little pieces of it. Yeah.
And if you think about it, when you stream, you're in front of thousands of people. And
I know, but
it's different. I
it
know.
is very different. I really like the people. I like to see them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can dig it. But hey, let's keep it up. Let's keep rocking, because I think 10 years from now, I will still be doing this. And I think that I think, God, I hope Minecraft is still in there. I really do. But I think I will still be streaming. It's why my streaming channel is not Minecraft centric. It's called The Funniest Gamer in the World, self-proclaimed. And it is just about games are not going anywhere. Throw me any game. Give me anything. I've done a lot of different games on my channel.
Yeah.
A lot of different games. And I like playing games, and I like streaming. I like riffing. I like, even when I do solo games, I like personifying the things that I'm playing with in the game and stuff like that. So I like that a lot. I do see myself still streaming, and that is, I almost gave something away. There's something I want to do at the next TwitchCon. Hopefully I have the stones to follow through. But it pertains a lot to what we're talking about.
Nice.
So yeah, that could be cool.
I'd like to, and we talked about this before. Remember when we said more of the IRL stuff?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
making the box car,
Yes.
and we kind of goofed about it. But like there's a project that I've been wanting to do for 2 years now, and that's the studio tour. We talked about it earlier and how we've got all this equipment and the quality of the show and all that stuff. I'd like to show the space off. Ever since this was built, I've been wanting to do that. But like I wanted to make that video something special. And I think because of that, that's why we've delayed it, for over 2 years. Plus we know like that kind of a project is an undertaking, and so I want to actually do that. I want to start to feel that, like what it's like to produce in that respect. You know what I mean? Like almost more of like a movie set type of a thing with storyboards and camera angles and you know what I mean? Like we don't get enough of that. We get it in game, with like a replay mod and stuff like that, but we don't get to do that IRL.
Yeah.
We have real cameras right here, but they're static.
They're static. We just sit here and talk. You're talking about something very different.
Yeah.
It's more choreography
Cinema.
based.
Oh yeah, choreography.
And
Yeah,
it's so much fun, dude. I did that in college. I remember I told you about that. I did a chase scene, a guy running with 2 pistols, you know what I mean? And all the different camera angles when I ratchet tied my body to the back of a car and had him run after me, and like, oh man, like being able to visualize all that stuff and storyboard it and put it out, it is a very different art and you would very much enjoy it.
Yeah, see but that's another project. I know the time and effort that we put into it wouldn't business wise make sense. But like that is something I want to create as a passion project for me. You know what I mean? And I asked you to be part of it because you have that experience.
Yes,
and,
let me. I will not overstep any boundaries. I know what your vision is. I know what you want to make happen. Let me storyboard it. Let me direct it. Let me edit it.
I'm actually sick of talking about it.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
I want action.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah, I want action. We just need to make
no
it
time.
priority and find the time.
Yeah, there's just no time. But it could be fun. All right. Let's cut it loose. God, there was something else I wanted to talk about, and I'm forgetting what it was right now. That's a bummer.
Good news. We'll do another podcast next week and the week after and the week after. So we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Because, this one's actually, wow, we went on a lot of rants on this one. We went many different directions, but they were all fun.
But we both got good sleep, and we couldn't shut up. That's what just happened.
Exactly.
Wow. I'm fine with it.
Jeez. Now that you figured out how to get good sleep, we're in
in
danger.
trouble.
We're
That
2 hour
means the
podcast.
edit's going to be longer
2 hour
now.
podcast from here on out.
No. Hey, check out the Patreon thing if you want to give it a go and join us in the pre-show. It's a lot of fun, and we're very obviously consistent. That was what part of that story was, is the fact that I couldn't film the podcast, but I still came over for the pre-show, and because we're that dedicated to it. So that every Thursday morning we'll be doing that. So check it out. And then and you know what? I have no lessons here. Bye.